Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Shri Radhe. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gora Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parikatacharya Asasata Shri Srimati's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Anant Brinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Radha Kunda Shamakunda Giri Govardhana Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Nittai Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. Thank you, dear devotees, for being here this evening for our daily Bhagavad Gita class. Today we're reading from the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text 44. Contents of the Gita summarized, or it's also called Atma-viveka Yoga, or distinguishing the soul from the body. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. bhogaīśvarya-prasaktānāṁ. tayāpahṛta-cetasām. vyavasāyā-ātmikā buddhiḥ. samādhau na vidhīyate. 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 Matajis. bhogaīśvarya-prasaktānāṁ, tayāpahṛta-cetasām, vyavasāya-ātmikā buddhiḥ, samādhau na vidhīyate, bhogaīśvarya-prasaktānāṁ, tayāpahṛta-cetasām, vyavasāyā-ātmikā buddhiḥ, samādhau na vidhīyate. Bhoga, to material enjoyment, aiśvarya, and opulence, prasaktānām, for those who are too attached, tayā, by such things, apahṛta-cetasām, bewildered in mind, vyavasāya-ātmikā, fixed in determination, buddhiḥ, devotional service to the Lord, samādhau, in the controlled mind, na, never, vidhīyate, does take place. Translation, Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Purport. Samādhi means fixed mind. The Vedic dictionary, the Nirukti, says samyag, ādhīyate, sminn, ātma-tattva-yāthātmyam. When the mind is fixed for understanding the self, it is said to be in Samādhi. Samādhi is never possible for persons interested in material sense enjoyment and bewildered by such temporary things. They are more or less condemned by the process of material energy. Translation, please repeat. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Om Agnati Mirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Strapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishikan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gorange Radhe Vrindavanishvare Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. It suddenly got very hot, very quickly. I think last time I was here I was still wearing a warm hat. Now today it's already up to 41 degrees. So it happens very quickly in Vrindavan. Alright, so we're still discussing the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. As we mentioned last time, the second chapter is divided into 5 topics according to the analysis of the Bhakti Shastri course. The first topic went from text 1 to 10, where Arjuna expresses his final and last doubt that he doesn't want to kill his family, his grandfather, his uncles and brothers and like that. The second topic is called jnana, or fight. Now, what I meant to say, the second, third, fourth and fifth topic, Krishna now counters all these arguments that Arjuna had given in the first chapter and in the beginning of the second, and he's encouraging him to fight. From text 11 to 30, he's giving the argument of jnana, or he's giving him knowledge of the soul and explaining to him how there is no death for the soul. The third topic, Krishna brings it from the angle of kamakanda to encourage him to fight. You have to perform your prescribed duties and thereby you will gain material enjoyment. He's enticing Arjuna in that direction. Now the fourth topic, which we're still covering today, which goes from text 39 to 53, is entitled Buddhi Yoga, and Krishna is encouraging Arjuna to fight on the basis of true knowledge. Here in the word for word translation, Srila Prabhupada says Buddhi Yoga means devotional service to the Lord. So he's trying to give Arjuna good intelligence of how to engage in devotional service to the Lord. And thereby he will not get sinful reactions. If he just does what he needs to do for the pleasure of Krishna, then there won't be a sinful reaction. Now from the text 54 to 72 till the end of this chapter is called Sthita Prajñā, or fight, namely become fixed in Krishna consciousness. So the whole conversation from the beginning of the second chapter to the end, Krishna is guiding Arjuna to this point of how to become fixed in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada explains in text 39 in the Purport, which we already covered a few days ago, that Buddhi Yoga is devotional service. It can also be called the communion with the Paramatma. In other words, you become aware of Krishna in your heart and you learn to take guidance from God within your heart. That is true intelligence, buddhi, intelligence. And in the purport to text 39, he says, only to those who are always engaged in devotional service out of transcendental love does he award, meaning Krishna, award the pure knowledge of devotion in love. So by performing devotional service, the pure knowledge is given by Krishna of how to engage in devotion to him with love. In that way, the devotee can reach him easily in the ever blissful kingdom of God. And further along in that same purport, Prabhupada says, Buddhi Yoga means to work in Krishna consciousness in the full bliss and knowledge of devotional service. One who works for the satisfaction of the Lord only, however difficult such work may be, is working under the principles of Buddhi Yoga and finds himself always in transcendental bliss. So two main key points are given here, namely that we need the correct knowledge to perform devotional service, and we will experience bliss. In other words, if we are not experiencing bliss in Krishna consciousness, that means something is out of sync, something is in disharmony. Even Lord Brahma, he confessed, it's in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, chapter 7, text 41. He says that he confesses that he can't understand the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he says, also constantly chanting his transcendental qualities, the 1,000 hooded Lord Shesha has not reached the limit of the Lord's activities. What is being pointed out that actually for a tiny jiva, it's not possible by your own small intelligence to understand the Lord. It is only, even Lord Shesha, Lord Brahma is saying, who is constantly, since time immemorial, glorifying the Lord, he's not come to the end of that glorification, and he can't really understand the Lord in full. It's like recently Bhakti Brihad Bhagavat Maharaj gave a beautiful seminar, 4-day seminar on japa chanting, on hearing the holy name. And one of the main points, I mean there were so many points, but something that's related to this topic is that he made us aware again, reminding us that we're not achievers in Krishna consciousness. We are not achieving, but we are receivers. We are receiving. So we are endeavoring, and then we are receiving. The Lord will give us the knowledge, and the Lord will give us the love in the knowledge to engage in pure devotional service to Him with love, like that. So this is very important to understand, because oftentimes devotees, they can fall into this idea, well, the more I chant, the more I can achieve something. You know, it's like twisting Krishna's arm around his back. If I just really chant with such focused attention, you know, surely Krishna will fulfill all my desires and wishes and like that, and I can have it my way. However, as we're learning in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, text 1 to 234, Atashi Krishna namadi na bhavet grayam indriyai svayam mukhe hi jivado svayam evas puratyado. With one's materially contaminated senses, one cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead or His name, form, qualities, or paraphernalia. But if one renders service unto Him, the Lord reveals Himself. So that was an important point to understand in regards to Buddha Yoga, that the intelligence is given by the Lord how to serve Him with love. And if we are endeavoring in that way, we're receiving His mercy, how to more engage in loving devotional service. This loving service is important. It's not just service, it's loving service as an adjective. This adjective of loving service is very important, because Krishna doesn't need anything from us, really. But He wants our loving engagement. He wants our loving relationship. My revered spiritual master, he would say, unless you offer service with love to Krishna under the guidance of a devotee, your surrender ultimately must be partial, conditional, or artificial. Partial means, yes, I make an endeavor to surrender to Krishna, but only some of the time in some ways. That means partial. I still keep some things for myself. I still have my own free time. That means partial. I'm partially surrendered. Conditional means, yes, I surrender to Krishna, but I have my conditions. I need my AC house, I need the latest car, I need a good wife, I need a bank balance, I need a good husband for my daughter, and so on and so forth. We put conditions. Sometimes we're not aware of it, and it takes your own personal daily reflection, introspection, to honestly research in your heart, how much are you surrendering? How much is it partial? How much is it conditional? Because this process of surrender goes on every moment of the day. It's not that we've come to a point and now I'm fully surrendered, I'm home free. No, actually this process of surrender is a daily affair, and it goes on at every moment, because at every moment we can choose Krishna or we can choose to turn away from Krishna. Then surrender can also be artificial. What means artificial? It's like when you buy juice in the bakery and it says blueberry juice, but then you actually check the ingredients and there's probably no real blueberries in there at all. It's all just some chemical flavoring that kind of imitates the blueberry. So artificial surrender means it looks externally, I've got the externals down to a T. I even come to Mangalartik, I wear tilak and like that, but I'm not really surrendered to Krishna. I'm still very much interested in my own material enjoyment, my own material life, and I'm just utilizing Krishna to fulfill my own purposes. In this regard to this verse, I remember many years ago in Sydney, I was still a brahmacharini, so it's a long, long time ago, in the brahmacharini ashram in Sydney, and Tamal Krishna Goswami, he came for a visit. He would regularly come and visit in Australia. And I remember this moment very much because he agreed to have a darshan with us girls in the lounge room. And he was speaking, I can't remember everything, but he particularly made this point. He says, if you're holding on to material desires, it's like trying to light wet grass. You might have a box of waterproof matches, the best quality, not the little Indian quality. You might have really good quality matches. But if you kept your grass wet, even the best match won't light a fire, you see. So he used that analogy to illustrate to us that you might be chanting Hare Krishna, but if you're holding on to your own material desires, the fire of your bhajan will not light up. You will not progress. So he was, and it stuck with me. It stuck in my mind like that. In this regard of, because the key point in this verse is those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence. That's the key point, too attached. We all have some attachment to some degree, and it's all right. Krishna knows you might be really attached to eating gulab jamans, or you might prefer to have this color sari or like that. There's some minor things, and Krishna doesn't really mind. But what means too attached? Too attached to sense enjoyment, Krishna himself verifies this and says, who are bewildered by such things. So if I'm attached to sense enjoyment, whatever shape that might be, and material opulence, and that attachment bewilders me. What means bewildered? I forget. I'm in ignorance of the fact that I'm actually a servant of Krishna, that I need to do things for his pleasure. I might even forget to practice Krishna consciousness because I'm just too busy. Well, chanting 16 rounds is just not possible for me right now because I'm just too busy in my business. Or, Mataji, I can't come to the temple because my children need attention. So many excuses devotees give. And I know they're excuses. I'm speaking from experience. There are so many excuses the mind will come up with because we have weakness in the heart, because we have attachment. We feel other things are more important than serving Krishna or following the instructions of my spiritual master. Especially in the Grihastha ashram, it's astonishing the amount of excuses the mind will invent and conjecture to block you from practicing sadhana bhakti properly. And there's so many excuses. And they're really just excuses, lame excuses mostly. Because our mind becomes weak. The more we indulge in our own sense enjoyment and aim for our own material comforts and opulences, and we're bewildered by it, the weaker our determination will come. We know we are bewildered because the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So this is the indication. How do I know I'm too attached? Because I'm bewildered. I'm not following my sadhana. Somehow or other, I'm committing aparadha. How do I know I'm doing that? Because I'm weak. My mind is making endless excuses not to do the right thing. And my determination to associate with devotees, to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, to study Bhagavad Gita, to chant my rounds, to follow the 4 regulative principles is becoming weaker and weaker and weaker. Prabhupada says in one place, I can't exactly remember right now, but he says, we need to understand, if somebody cannot complete his 16 rounds, that his spiritual life is in a diseased condition. So this is how we can measure if we are on the right path. If I'm enthusiastically and with focus, chant minimum 16 rounds, I'm following the 4 regulative principles, I'm engaging in devotional service, and I'm feeling joyful and determined, then I'm on the right track. And if those things are not in place, something is not right and we need to give it attention. In this regard, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Srila Prabhupada gives an allegorical story. You probably all know it, but I'd like to just repeat it. It's also given in this book called Vedic Dharma and the Grihastha Ashram. It's the story of the wedding party. You've heard the story of the wedding party, maybe? He says there was a wealthy landlord, Samindar, living in Calcutta, and he had a son. And he was to be married to a bride who lived in Shantipur, on the other side of the Ganga. And by astrological calculation, the auspicious time for the wedding to take place, and this can only happen in India, of course, it would never happen in the West. The astrological auspicious time was 4 a.m. in the morning. So the party of the bridegroom with all the family, of course, they have to travel to the house of the bride. So it was decided to go by boat. So they go to the Ganga, they choose a boat. Yes, they choose a boatman. Come, you have a big enough boat? Yes, we'll give you extra rupees because we're a big party, 50 members. We need to reach the other side so that we can get to Shantipur by 4 a.m. in the morning. Yes, no problem. So they all hopped in the boat. It was getting dark, and the boatman said, don't worry, you just rest, you all go to sleep, and me and my men, we will row you throughout the night, and you will reach there safely. So everybody relaxed, and they just, because it was going to be a busy day the next day, right? Weddings are a big thing. So they all fell asleep. And the boatman is rowing and rowing and rowing and rowing. And in that way the whole night goes by. Now suddenly the rays of the sun are waking up some of the family members, and they're, Are, what happened? Oh my God, the sun is up. Hey, wake up. What happened? Boatman, what did you do? I'm rowing the whole night. I've been rowing. See, my clothes are sweated through. I'm working really hard. Yes, but look, the sun is risen and we're still in the same spot where we were last night. We didn't move at all. Oh my God. Now everything is spoiled. Everything is lost. We didn't reach the town. We didn't get there in time. The whole wedding is ruined. What happened? And then finally one of the boatmen said, did you lift the anchor? And then they realized, oh my God, Are, the anchor is stuck in the deep mud, in the thick mud. Nobody thought to lift the anchor, so we're working so hard, rowing and rowing, but we didn't move at all. Oh no. So all was lost. So it is explained that, like I said, it's an allegorical story, and each item has a meaning. Coming to the river bank, and the river itself represents the ocean of material existence. The boat is this human form of life, which is a suitable vessel to cross the ocean of material existence. The boatman represents the spiritual master who ferries you across. So when choosing a boatman, we have to be careful, because we need to choose such a person who is actually capable, who doesn't have the same problems, whose anchors may be also stuck in the mud. The family members represent students or disciples of a guru who have also anatas in their heart, who are following somebody who is also not free from anatas, like that. Coming to Shantipur represents going home back to Godhead, the Lord's abode. The auspicious time of the wedding, the vivaha, the marriage ceremony, represents of the jiva establishing his eternal relationship with the Lord. And the auspicious time is that now he's utilized his human form of life for the right purpose, and he will no longer have to take birth again in this material world. So this is the story of the wedding party. Of course, the key issue here is that they forgot to lift the anchor. So the anchor represents material attachment. The rowing represents sadhana and bhajan. You may be doing bhajan and sadhana all your life, many lives. But if you're not willing to lift the anchor, which is only possible by the mercy of Sadhguru and the Vaishnavas, then you will not progress. So here again, this point of how we are receivers. So we need to place ourselves in the correct association, under the correct guidance, to be given the right intelligence, so that we can learn how to become free from these material attachments. So then when by performing our sadhana and our bhajan, we're actually making progress of crossing this ocean of material existence. So this is the story of the wedding party, which is a wonderful story I really love. Of course, Queen Kunti, she also prays, very famous prayer by Queen Kunti, Janma aiśvarya shuta shribhya eda mana mada puman naiva hadya diratum vai tvam akinchana gocharam. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, 8th Chapter, Text 26. She says, "My Lord, your Lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted." This is so important. The Lord can easily be approached. He's available to everyone in any country, in any language, anywhere in the world. You don't even have to go to a temple or a mosque or a church. You can be anywhere. Like, we're hearing these amazingly courageous, yet also very sad stories from devotees in Ukraine right now, who are undergoing such tremendous difficulty, unnecessary suffering caused, by a nasty government. But they're telling us stories of how bombs are dropping, they have no food, no water, no clothing, no heating, and somehow or other they know to take shelter of Krishna, and Krishna is helping them. Like that. So the Lord can easily be approached. There's no conditions. Krishna is unconditionally. He gives his love to each and every one. Unconditionally. He doesn't put conditions. He's not artificial or partial. Like that. But only by those who are materially exhausted. Exhausted means I'm done. I'm finished. Been there, done that, no more. Actually, a devotee comes to the point where he prays, "Please Krishna, no more, no more, no more. I don't want. I tried in so many ways to enjoy in this material world. I'm really exhausted." So it's not just a theoretical understanding, like, okay, all right, I understand I shouldn't have material desires, all right, okay. No, you're actually completely done. I don't want it anymore. One who is on the path of material progress. If you're on the path of material progress, actually you're going in the opposite direction. You can't go this, it's not all paths lead to the same goal. That's not correct. If you're going in that direction, you're going in that direction. And you're getting that result. So one who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself. Now here she defines what is meant by material enjoyment, by material opulence. It means respectable parentage, taking a good birth, right? A wealthy, academic, birth. Great opulence, a lot of money. High education, that means prestige and status and everything that goes with that. And bodily beauty, I want to be admired, I want to look beautiful, I want to have many followers, like that. Cannot approach you with sincere feelings. So this is the key issue here, sincere feelings. We don't want to be partial or conditional or artificial. We need to be sincere, because Krishna is in your heart anyhow, and he knows what you're whispering in here. Externally we might be doing so many things, but Krishna knows what's in here. And all he wants is our sincere feelings. So Queen Kunti is clearly pointing out that we need to come to this akinchana gocharam, which means materially zero. I'm nothing, I'm insignificant. I'm not important. And as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, teaches nadanam, najanam, na sundarim. A devotee doesn't want wealth, doesn't want knowledge, doesn't want beautiful women. And then every day we're reciting the 10 offenses against the holy name. And we're saying it is also an offense to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. So what are these instructions? We're talking about buddhi yoga. We're talking about the knowledge that brings us to the loving service of the Lord. So we've been given this instruction, what that means, but we're still holding on to I and mine, seeing everything in relationship to myself and things that belong to me. We're not looking around at our environment and seeing everything and everyone in relationship with Krishna and how everything actually belongs to the Supreme Lord. Sometimes devotees, they can have this misunderstanding too, that this material world was created for the wayward jiva to enjoy. That's only half the truth. That's not really actually true. The material world, just like everything else, belongs to Krishna. It's his property. And yes, we've been sent here for what purpose? Not to try and enjoy separately from him. We try that, but that's not the purpose. The purpose is to learn here. This is a schoolroom environment where we are being taught how to become a servant. And that's why it's so important to always, these qualities of compassion and service to humanity, service to the animals, service to nature, service to each other, before we can even speak about service to the Lord. So this material world is the property of God, and we're here to learn how to perform this loving devotional service. In the next text, in Queen Kunti's prayer, she also mentions this word again, akinchana vitaya, or how Krishna is the property of the impoverished. Krishna is full in all opulences. He has all wealth. Everything belongs to him. So if somebody donates $100,000, that's like water of a duck's back for him. Might mean a lot, might sound like a lot of money to us, but it's nothing to him. Because he kind of just like, yeah, okay, you think it's your money, but actually it's mine. You see, he knows the foolishness, isn't it? Like that. It's like when I was a little girl, very, very small, even before kindergarten, somehow I got to understand that it was my mother's birthday. And I really, really wanted to give her something special. But I'm 4 or 5 years old. I don't have any money or anything. I don't have anything. So I had to go to my mother and say, Mommy, can you please give me some money? And she kind of guessed what I was trying to do. So she gave me all the change from her purse, which looked like a mountain. Oops. Sorry. Which looked like a mountain of money to me. Like I could barely hold it with my two little hands. I thought, oh, I'm so rich now. I've got so much money, right? And with that money, I'm going to the corner shop. And of course, the favorite item for a little child is chocolate. And I wanted to get the best for my mother. So I put all that money on the counter, and the lady's looking at it, all these 1 and 2 cent coins, counting it out. And then she said, okay, you can buy one of these chocolates, because she understood I was trying to buy something for my mom. So she counted it out, and I picked this chocolate, and I was going to give my mother such a surprise, and I put the chocolate under my jumper. So of course, by the time I got home, it was completely melted. But I gave it to my mom. Happy birthday. Oh, and she took this soft, soggy chocolate, and she was so pleased. Oh, you did that for me? Oh, thank you so much. It's my favorite chocolate too. You see? So this is basically what we're actually doing with Krishna. He owns everything, and even if we want to engage in his service, we have to say, Lord, can you give me a loan so I can do this temple service for you, or like that, isn't it? We're dependent on him. Anyway, so Krishna is the property of the impoverished, because they are approaching him with sincere feelings, like that. Even I found this verse given by Kolavecha Sridhar. We know Kolavecha Sridhar. He was one of the favorite devotees of Lord Chaitanya, who was very, very poor. He had only a simple hut that even leaked with the rain. He only had one iron pot, and he was making these banana cups and like that. And that's what he was selling, and Lord Chaitanya would still argue and bargain with him and try to get the price down. Anyway, he speaks in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Lila 9, verse 212 to 214. He says, by the power of devotional service, Bhishma defeated you in battle. By the power of devotional service, Mother Yashoda tied you up. By the power of Satyabhama, by the power of devotional service, Satyabhama purchased you. Defeated by devotional service, you carried the cowherd boys on your shoulders. Limitless millions of universes are manifested from your thoughts. Still, you personally carried the Gopa Sridham on your shoulders. So this is the Supreme Lord. We're completely dependent on him, and he's so magnificent and so enormous. It's beyond our comprehension, actually. But he very happily accepts whatever small service we can offer him with love, with sincere feelings. I wanted to get your help, please, with this, because it's a song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we all know, from Sharanagati. And we can sing it together maybe. Manasa deha geha. We'll sing the verse and then I'll read the translation. Manasa deha geha yokichumo apiluntu apade Nanda Kishore. O son of Nanda Maharaj, my mind, my body, my household paraphernalia, whatever else I may have, I surrender at your lotus feet. Sampade vipade jivane marane dayama magela tua opadavarane. By taking shelter at your lotus feet, all of my responsibilities, whether in happiness, in danger, in life or in death, are now over. Very important song, very important to meditate on these verses. Marabira kobi yo ichatohara nityadasa pratitua adhikara. Excuse my shortcomings in singing this beautiful bhajan. You have the full right to either kill me or save me. You are free to do whatever you wish, for I am your eternal servant. Janma obi moe icha yaditora bhakta grihe jani janma hao mora. If you want me to take birth again, then my only request is that I may be born in the house of a devotee. Kita janma hao yatatu adasa Bahiyamukha Brahma Janme Nahi Asha. Even if I have to take birth as an insect, I do not mind, as long as I remain your servant. But I would never desire even the birth of Brahma if I were to be averse to you. Bhukti Mukti Spriya Vihin Naye Bhakta Labaite Tanka Sangha Anurakta. I long for the association of those devotees who are devoid of desires for material enjoyment and liberation. I want that association of devotees who are free from material enjoyment and the desire for liberation. Janaka Janani Daita Danaya Prabhu Guru Pati Tu Savamaya. You are my father, my mother, my lover, my son, my Lord, my spiritual master, and my husband. In fact, you are everything to me. Bhakati Vinoda Kahe Shunakana Radhanatatun Hamara Parana. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, O Krishna, please listen to my prayer. O beloved Lord of Radha, you are my life and soul. So this is the point that Krishna is encouraging Arjuna to come to understand how we are actually completely dependent on the Lord. And if we're still in material consciousness, we might have fear. We have so much fear. Surrender means giving up of our securities, our comfort zones, things that we are habituated by, conditioned by. And we are in fear to let go, because what will happen? We're insecure. Sometimes they say in English, better the devil you know than the devil you don't. Like, I'm so used to being a conditioned soul. I used to try and preach to my mother about the sufferings in this world, and she would say, yeah, but that's just the way it is, and you just deal with it. Why be so focused on that? Because they kind of know that they try like anything for material comforts and prosperities, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But that's just too bad. You just keep trying. You just go with it. You roll with the punches, because the conditioned soul doesn't know the security, the anxiety-free zone that the lotus feet of the Lord offer. That there is such a thing, to be free from fear, to be free from the anxiety of your existence. A child doesn't have to think how my mother is providing or my father is providing. So similarly, a devotee is completely dependent on the Lord for everything. Surely the Lord will feed me. He fed me yesterday, and I slept in a nice bed last night. Why it won't happen today? Why it won't happen tomorrow? Like that. We have to have that faith. In the next song, I'd just like to read the translation, because it's very pertinent to the sloka that we're covering today. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, O merciful Lord, today I will surrender at your lotus feet all that comes under the category of I and mine. O Lord, I no longer have any separate identity. Now I only belong to you. This embodied soul has given up the conception of I. The conception that I am your eternal servant is now deeply rooted in my heart. Whatever I possess, my body, house, servants, brothers, friends, wife, children, and household paraphernalia, all belong to you now. I am your servant. I simply live in your house. You are the owner of my household, and I'm just your servant. From now on, all of my endeavors will be directed toward giving you happiness. I'm no longer concerned about whether the activities performed by my gross and subtle bodies are pious or sinful, because, O Lord, I have taken shelter of you, and so all of my activities are in your service. My desires have now merged with your desires. From now on, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur completely forgets his former self. These are such important instructions for all of us, because many misconceptions can be there. Like, if I want to surrender to Krishna, I can only be a brahmachari or a sannyasi. I have to be renounced. So oftentimes, especially our young men, they're in confusion. They don't understand what it means to work within this material world, to have even material acquisitions or family, a young family, and still be in Krishna consciousness. Coming to this point of full surrender doesn't mean, or coming to this point of akinchana gocharam, being materially impoverished, doesn't mean we have to sit by the side of the road under a tree with a begging bowl and sleeping, under a tarp. That is not what is meant here. Actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says you don't have to change your position. You be where you are, in whatever situation you're in, but please learn this art of, first of all, getting the real knowledge of how everything is the property of the Lord, and then how to engage everything and see everything in the relationship of the Lord, and make yourself completely dependent on the shelter and the mercy of the Lord, and then you can actually be free from fear and anxiety. See, this whole fear-mongering that's going on all over the world in the recent years is only possible by these demonic forces, because they can full well understand people's insecurity. How everybody thinks that unless I have money, a house, a car, I can't be happy, because they're irreligious, they're atheistic. If governments could actually, like Prabhupada says in the Bhagavatam, if governments could actually teach people that everything belongs to the God and that we're all servants of God, then so many exploitations and this and that couldn't go on. So many key issues are there. I remember again when I was a brahmacharini, changing from the brahmacharini ashram to the grihastha ashram. Back in the day, there were some strong misconceptions about that too. How then if you get married, now you've fallen down the deep dark well. Now you're in Maya. This is what we were told. So we're terrified. We knew Prabhupada says a woman has to get married, but yet at the same time we also heard that when you get married, that's it, you're finished, you've fallen down the well. I remember my marriage was arranged at the time, and suddenly none of the other girls in the ashram would talk to me anymore, because now I'm in Maya. You see, I'm married now, like that. So this proper education of how to see everything in relationship with Krishna, what is too much attachment, what is bewilderment by such things, and how to maintain and nurture and nourish our resolute determination for devotional service. How to get up every morning again, go to Mangalarti, chant 16 rounds, follow the 4 regulative principles, read Srimad Bhagavatam, engage in service. then in the evening reflecting on the day, and the next morning doing it again, 20, 30, 40, 50 years and more. How to have that resolute determination, be determined like Dhruva Maharaj. He was just a small child, and he had such a determination to gain a kingdom greater than that of Lord Brahma. He was spiteful, right? Defiant. So that took some courage, and his guru even tested him. Narada Muni said, go back to the palace, you're just a small child, no? But he was determined. So how to have this determination? Bhakti-tirtha Maharaj, in his Spiritual Warrior number 6, gives an amazing prayer. And I've said this prayer myself very seriously and sincerely at one time, and my whole life turned upside down, back to front, inside out. So be careful. But this is a very powerful prayer that I would like to share with you. And actually we should pray it every day, again and again. He says, whatever I need to experience to come to you faster, please let those things happen. Let's not delay the process. Krishna, I'm on my way to you. Please, whatever needs to happen so that to make that faster, let that happen. This takes a lot of courage. So I can once and for all be free. And whatever is interfering with my spiritual life that I need to have taken away, please remove it from my life. This is real surrender. What is blocking me in my spiritual life? Krishna, please take it away. I don't know. I'm thinking I'm doing the right thing. You know better. Please help me. For so many lifetimes, I have functioned on my own intelligence, and it has only brought me to another body in the material world. I know what I want, but you know what I need. Therefore, I place myself before you and ask you to arrange whatever I need. Powerful prayer. And these are sincere feelings. These are sincere feelings from somebody who feels akinchana gocharam. And this is what is meant by surrender. To completely trust and have that faith that the Lord loves me. We are so illusioned. We think our mother loves us, our father, our husband, our wife, our children. And maybe to a point there's some truth. But that love is so fickle and it can change. One day somebody is your friend, the next day is your enemy. Isn't it? One moment she loves you, the next minute she divorces you. One minute he wants to marry you, the next minute he has an affair with somebody else. One minute your son adores you, the next minute he steals your money. And this is what's going on in the material world, and it's no exaggeration. However, the love of God has been with us unconditionally since time immemorial. God or Krishna is in all of our hearts all the time, no matter we turn our face to him or not. He's our bestest friend. We can trust him implicitly. So the key words were, not to be too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence. We know if we are too attached because we're becoming bewildered by it, we are becoming distracted, we're getting off the path, and our determination in devotional service on the path of bhakti is becoming weak. It's so much easier to just watch a movie for a couple of hours than, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Right? So then your spiritual life is in danger when you're finding yourself in conditions like that. There are 3 P's, P in devotional service, in Krishna consciousness. 3, not PowerPoint presentations, but these are the 3 P's of practice, patience, and perseverance. So we need to be patient, we need to continue with our practice, and we need to persevere. and constantly be hoping to receive the mercy of the Lord. Vaishnavas are specifically characterized by daya, compassion, and dainya, humility. Devotees engaged in serving the Supreme Lord receive the Lord's causeless mercy in the form of strong spiritual resolve and mature wisdom. So if we act as devotees with compassion and in humility, engaging in devotional service to the Lord will give us this strong spiritual resolve. We don't have to be in fear. Like if you go to university to get a degree, it's all dependent on your practice, your studying, your remembrance, your performance. There's so much gut ache, fear involved, isn't it? But in spiritual life, we can be completely relaxed in that sense, because if I just engage with humility in the Lord's service, the Lord Himself will give me that spiritual resolve that I need. How else is it possible? And He will give us mature wisdom. Or as Srimad Bhagavatam says, 1-7, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janadyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayat Ahaitukam. By rendering devotional service unto the personality Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. So thank you very much for this opportunity of service. It was a beautiful topic that we were able to discuss today, and it's so enlivening, and thank you for your association. Are there any comments or questions? Yes? I can't see you in the corner.
Sorry. Thank you for a very nice class. Can you talk something about the principle of Yukta Vairagya?
Oh yes, Yukta Vairagya. It's explained in Nectar of Devotion very nicely. There's Falgu Vairagya, or there's Monkey Vairagya. So Vairagya means dovetailing, utilizing whatever we have, whatever is given, whatever paraphernalia we have, using it in the service of the Lord. Of course, that requires guidance, and because we need to understand what is pleasing to Krishna, what we can actually offer to Him. So, why are you asking the question?
Because it's connected to the verse.
Okay.
It is not that you own.
Yes, like I said, we don't need to become a beggar on the side of the road. We have our situation, we have our family, we might own a company or a car or a house or whatever. We have these items. Now we need to learn how to utilize them for the pleasure of Krishna. That is what is meant by Yukta Vairagya. So I don't have to leave my house, I don't have to run away from my wife. I just have to see her as a servant of Krishna. I have to see the house as a temple of Krishna. I have to see that this money is actually belongs to Krishna. So that takes proper discernment, mature wisdom and guidance. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes?
Thank you so much, Manaji, for the session. Generally, I make few points, 2, 3, 4 from every class to meditate upon, but today I have so many points are there which can be meditated upon. Thank you so much. Manaji, my question is like related to someone that which Prabhu's asked. Yukta Vairagya, can you please give few examples? I have 2 questions. Can you please give some examples and how can I see everything in relation to Krishna? Few examples to make my vision like that. To try to make my vision like that, to relate everything with Krishna
How to see everything, how to utilize everything in Krishna's service. Yukta vairagya. How to see everything in relationship with Krishna. Well, Krishna himself teaches us that in the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 7 and chapter 10. He tells us, I'm the taste of water, I'm the light of the moon and the sun, I'm the, like that. I'm the healing herb, I'm the strength of the strong, I'm the power of the mountains. So many things he says. So, it's like if I come to visit your house and say you've got a very beautiful big house and I'm invited as your guest and I come there and you sit me on a nice bed and you give me a foot massage and then you give me a nice meal and then a nice bed to sleep, and after some time I'm thinking, oh, this is very nice. I think I'm going to stay here and make this house mine. You see? So it's like that with Krishna. He's given this planet Earth, this material world, and everything that it contains, the beautiful rivers, the sunrise, nature, the animals. He's given everything and it belongs to him. It's his property. And we come along and, yes, actually, I'm going to drill all the oil out of the earth. I'm going to create huge factory, farming. I'm going to do this, that, and I'm going to bomb this country and that country. This is my place. It belongs to me. It's thieving. It's thievery, you see. So it's not complicated. You just have to look at everything. Actually, this room, this furniture, everything, this body belongs to Krishna. It's not mine. It's a gift. Everything is a gift, like that. Now the other question, Akinchana Gochar.
Krishna is Akinchana, and Akinchan Gochar refers for Krishna.
Akinchana just simply means to feel yourself very fallen in this regard, to feel yourself materially zero. I'm nothing, I'm insignificant. This is the attitude of a devotee. That actually, when we are, this is not something artificially imposed. Actually, we're so small, 1/10,000th, the tip of a hair is the size of the jiva. We're so insignificant, but because of being in this body and having developed such an ego, we think, oh, I'm great, I'm the bank manager, I own this house, these are my children, this is my money, this is my car, I and mine. All these false designations, these upadhis that we've developed life after life after life, you see. But actually the real fact is that we're so tiny, we're so insignificant, and we have forgotten that we have an eternal loving relationship with Krishna. We've tried to enjoy separately. We're thieving his property and trying to enjoy it for ourselves. You see? So it's not complicated, it just takes a little bit of guidance and truth and honesty.
My question is that we have heard that Mukti Maharani's prayers, that she wanted sorrows in her life.
Oh yes.
So I didn't understand this thing that at the same time we are not supposed to ask anything from Krishna, whether it's like asking for material enjoyment or happiness. So is it okay to ask for sorrows? Like why to ask if we know?
You're able to do that?
No.
So then, you see, first think what your capacity is. Could you honestly, like Queen Kunti, go to Krishna now and Krishna Balaram, go to them before, my dear Lord, please, just give me sufferings. Will you be able to honestly do that? No, so you have to understand first why she's doing that and how she had the courage to do that. And it's not something artificial. Why is it she could say like that? Why did she do it? Yes, because even you must have had some experience in your life, I know I have, when something really, really terrible happens to us, then we run to the Lord, isn't it? Isn't it? There was a famous atheist in America, professed atheist, He was kidnapped, gagged and bound and tied up and thrown in the boot of a car. Very wealthy man. He was atheistic. But what did he do? He prayed to God. Dear God, I'm so sorry. If you can just get me out of this situation, out of this mess, I promise I'll do something for you. You see? And that's the mercy of the Lord. That's the mercy of the Lord and the devotees when they put us in a situation, and so many discussions have been on this topic, that Krishna will give you deliberately some kind of distress. But it's only distress because of our outlook on the situation. Now, if Krishna takes away your house, you might think, oh no, my house, now where I'm going to live, I've lost my house. I've lost a house, it burned in a fire, you know. So you can look at it in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, everything that you owned, everything is gone, finished, kaput, right? I've had this experience several times actually. So you can stand there and you can cry, oh no, my God, so much distress, poor me. Why did this happen to me? Or you can stand there and think, what's Krishna's plan? What is he trying to achieve? What is he trying to tell me? What does he want me to do instead? Because Krishna never gives suffering to destroy you. He only gives you suffering to become more strong. Or he wants to direct, like we were reading the prayer by Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. He wants to direct you in a different direction so that you can come faster to him. Because we get so attached, all of us. We so easily develop attachments to our situations, you know. If we own 3 saris and one gets destroyed, the monkeys tear it to pieces. Oh no, my sari. If I own a house or a car and the car gets smashed in an accident, oh no, my car, I and my, you see. But the whole point is to become free from this conception of I and mine. So Queen Kunti, she could pray like that because, of course, her and the Pandavas, they'd gone through so many challenges. But in those challenges, they always saw the hand of the Lord. And in that way, they were constantly in memory and association of the Lord. And because of that, they were always actually in transcendental bliss. They were in full Krishna consciousness. So she's praying, in other words, don't let me get bewildered by material attachments. A few verses along, she even says, take my affection for the Pandavas away. Which mother can pray like that? Which mother can pray like that after everything she's been through? And her pride and joy, the 5 Pandava brothers. And she even says to Krishna, take my affection for the Pandavas away, because it's an obstacle in my love to you. Yes, exactly. So it's very, very, so your question is a little bit out of sync, you know, like we are saying, yes, we shouldn't come with material desires to the Lord. However, when we're studying this verse in Nectar of Devotion of Anyabhilashita Sunyam, Prabhupada explains that when you're in a distressed condition and you then come and run to the Lord and ask for protection, that doesn't come under this category, because it's not a constant thing. You know, because our shelter is only the Lord. So if we're coming into a distressful situation, it's only natural for us to take shelter of the Lord, and that's what we should do, because it's our only shelter. So she's understood that the lotus feet of the Lord are really my only shelter, and not the Pandavas or the Vrishnis or this or that. And we all need to learn that. You know, especially us women, we in one way it says that a woman should always be under the protection of the father, the husband, or the grown-up son. These are our protectors. But if you actually become Krishna conscious, like Queen Kunti, you soon realize the hand of Krishna behind your father, your husband, and your son. They can't even save themselves from disease and death and calamities, ādhīyate, ādhīyatmikā, bhotik. How much can they really protect you? Isn't it? Actually, Krishna has given a system, and we are following this system, but really his hand is protecting you through your father, your husband, or your son, like that. And we all need to learn to completely take shelter of Krishna, to let go of all these false shelters. So we've gone a long time over time. Thank you very much for your patience. See you again. Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, whether we are full of desires, we have no desires, we should always approach Krishna. He will guide us and show us what we're doing right or wrong and direct us. No matter who you are, where you are, always come to Krishna. It's the safest. Okay. Did you understand a little bit better? Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hari Bol. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Take a photo of your prayer.
Oh, yeah, sure. Hang on a minute. Yeah, sure, just hang. It's just here, half the page. Yeah.
I would like to take the prayer.
Yeah.
My question is regarding Nirukti Swami Maharaj prayer which you said at the last Sadhu
Yeah.
Mataji, when you saying this prayer, so I was thinking that this is my goal. This is my goal. Right now, I'm not able to. The reason being is that
Yes.
the reason being that I had gone through severe health issue, but now I'm coming up from that. And it was for like I was just sick, so I was having health issues. It was like my product or something.
Right.
So it got so severe for last 4 years. So now by the mercy of Krishna, previously, the moment I came to Bhakti, I was not aware that I came to know that we should not ask anything from Krishna, not at all material things. So this was the thing, but my health was so down that I was not able to do. I was Krishna. When I was there at that moment, I was so Krishna conscious, but I came to know now I have come to know that at that time I was Krishna conscious. Although I was crying, screaming, because I was not able to chant around, but my consciousness was so much elevated at that moment. But somehow we have to